It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
But I'm curious, do you guys have, I know you have big strategies and big plans for the next year. It's thinking about the people side of it. What roles do you need? And maybe like, our employees might listen to this, so we got to be careful about who maybe we don't need, or who's in the wrong seat. Are there any, without offending anybody, are there any people that you're thinking on your team are like, man, that person's just in the wrong bus, I need to repurpose this thing, or maybe even just get rid of them for the sake of the rest of the business? What are your people strategies for the next year?
Well, with our business, we're gonna scale to the level of our third worst month. So what that means is we're peaking out and destroying the numbers of what is our third worst month of the year. And then we're going to build the business model around that month and then hold that for a year and see if we can get to 28% profitability.
So you're trying to find the sweet spot that's most profitable rather than add a bunch of revenue that costs a bunch of profit to be able to do.
With the way we're doing it, the revenue shouldn't be affected a ton. I mean, we'll probably do between 4.2 and 4.3 with about 42 employees. We are repurposing a few, doing this where we already have a list of like how we're cutting some stuff. We're getting rid of some trucks. I mean, we're gonna really downplay this down to about $25,000 less a week in bills. And there's a lot of stuff that we're doing to be able to get to that. And so I've never done it to the extent that we're about to tackle it in the beginning of the year. So it's going to be exciting. I'm hoping we don't book out more than a week all year until we get to the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So, summertime a little bit, but spring, no. And so we're really going to try to make it the business. I'll tell you my numbers. We don't very rarely have a week that we don't sell less than $55,000. That's a bad week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll generally
that's in sales, not production, right? That's in how much you're closing. Yep.
So let me revert. I meant revenue. So we don't very rarely have a week that we do less than $55,000 in revenue.
Okay.
Whatever that equals to, whatever, that's what we will do.
Yep.
A couple weeks of the year, we might go down to 48, 46, but generally 55 is the average bad week.
Gotcha.
So we're taking our bills and structuring them to be around 58,000.
Okay.
So when we get busy, what we're not going to do this year in 23 is scale up to be able to keep doing the $130,000 weeks that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep the bills roughly at 60, because once you get busy, your bills go up. So we'll keep the bills floating around 57 to 65, 68. But on an average week, we sell 70 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that the sales will, I know what'll happen is we'll start getting to where we're booking out. And when we get booked out when we start hitting the end of the third week being booked out, then I might bring on another crew.
Do you, I think there's two different ways you can go with that. Is you can add capacity, but if adding capacity means you also need to add infrastructure and bills, you can also raise prices, right? Like once you
our
start
prices are already there. No,
yes,
no.
But if you're booked out and you keep booking out, right? If all of a sudden you're 5 weeks, 6 weeks, like you can either increase capacity or decrease demand, and there's not a wrong answer, right? Like you charge what the market will bear, and who's willing to pay the most. So
yeah, and when you're the biggest guy on the block, it's really hard to like taking up my prices already as is because of the demand. I've chosen to be that, so I'm not really going to go. Believe me, I've been the guy that it's time to raise prices. We are booked out. It's okay. I know the theory how to do that, but in this scenario, where we're at, I'm not going to hit that more than likely, and so it would be more of let's bring one more truck on to maintain the 3 to 4 week time.
Gotcha. So going back to the people side of it, I know you're recruiting for some salespeople. Is the recruiting for like the technician side, is that more reactive, and the more proactive is a couple additional sales folks? What like roles in you already said earlier, like you feel like you've got the whole leadership team in place and like that management structure in place. What are the couple gaps that you see in that org chart to execute on your strategy that you need to make sure is locked tight?
Better training with the educator sales guys, and then matching up some leaders versus some helpers to be faster. For instance, most of my leaders have pretty good helpers, but we'll be probably laying off some of the guys that aren't up to snuff, that are really getting it done, and we'll be matching up two leaders together. And when it comes to construction, it's easy to do. It's not like they're both being the boss. They prefer it, actually. Most of my leads like working together versus having 2 or 3 helpers, because the 2 leaders together, they don't have to talk.
Yeah,
I'll be the ground guy, you be the roof guy, and there's nothing else said, right? They just go to work, and they can get a job done 70% faster than if they had a helper versus them. So the whole scenario that we're going to be turning to should equal way more profits than what we've ever done.